That's not fair to say they lie about everything every time is insane. That's not true. And also the left
now you're making semantics because obviously
you said it's hyperbole. You're a journalist.
What?
We're said the left lies about everything all the time, and then you made it like that's a fact. Now let's move forward in a conversation based on this.
The needless, what you're saying is completely needless. It conveys no idea to anybody. Everybody knows I'm not literally saying when they say the sky is blue, I'm like, they lied. I'm talking about matters of substantial consequence. 90% of the time, they're lying.
That's also just a number you pulled out of your ass. I'm not saying that people never lie, but just please be specific about it. Do whatever you want, but it's hard.
Bro, if you can't have a real conversation, I don't know what you're doing here. If the point is that in every major news story, Gaza hospital, fake, Gaza refugee camp, fake, they lied about two of the biggest stories.
You're talking about the news organizations.
I'm talking about the activists. The activists who are on the street and Hamas activists. I talk about when they've lied about two of the biggest stories pertaining to what happened. Tim, they're lying. So when they come out and they say, "Oh, did you know Israel did something?" I'm like, "Oh, please." Am I going to fall for this again?
Tim, I don't know. Are you believing everything that the Israeli government's telling us is happening too? Yeah, it's like, no. You can't pin it on the left.
This is what I wanted to ask Tim about, because he's made this point a few times over the past couple of weeks, and it's like, I agree. I'm very upset. In fact, I had to put out an apology tweet about that hospital one because I felt so bad that I was misled. But this was major news organizations that were putting this out. So
The New York Times to this day has an article up saying that Brian Sicknick was killed by J6 protesters.
I know. Look, I understand your anger towards them. What I don't understand is why that mislead is so offensive to you, which I agree with. But then the IDF's misleads on...
When did I say it wasn't?
Well, but you've brought up the left is constantly lying. It's like, but hasn't the IDF lied a lot too?
I don't care about the IDF. I care about, in the United States, American media, American universities, American leftists and liberals and people like Adam Schiff. And if I go down the list of every single thing they've lied about and how it is...
So it's the domestic policy side is what you care about.
I don't care about Israel. I don't care about Palestine. I don't care about Myanmar. I don't care about Azerbaijan. Okay. I care about the humanitarian crises in these places as equally as much as all of them. They're all bad. But the issue is domestic American leftists calling for decolonization, etc. They will come to you and say, we are simply saying that people deserve some kind of reparations. And then when you turn your back, they stick a knife in it. Mm-hmm. And I mean that figuratively. But when the New York Times to this day has a story up that says Brian Sicknick was killed, right. I believe Sicknick was his name, was killed, and that story is totally false. And the Capitol Police issued a statement saying it was natural causes, meaning non-external, meaning it was not homicide. And we know for a fact that's true. They lied. How come you got Thomas Massie? He tells the truth. How come you got Matt Gaetz? He tells the truth. How come you've got, and I'm not going to give all the Republicans credit,
no,
but it is consistently that you will read prominent conservative publications that will be fair even to their own detriment, and liberal publications lie the majority of the time.
Yeah. In terms of domestic policy, the reason I asked to clarify is because, from my vantage point, we have had fog of war deception on both sides of the Israel-Palestine war. If you want to talk about just broadly who's the most full of shit when it comes to domestic news, yeah, it's clear. I mean, this is why Trump came to power, he was telling fake news.
And I want to point, we're going to jump to this next story in a second, but I have to point this out as well. Twitter. What were Twitter's biases? No question. Left.
Yep.
100%. And they were actively working with the United States intelligence agencies to suppress legitimate information in order to win political power. Donald Trump, in my opinion, would be president today if not for the intelligence agencies going on Twitter and Facebook and YouTube and telling them explicitly you will not allow people to share information pertaining to the Hunter Biden laptop story.
I guarantee he would have won.